Let's start with the digitalization of procurement systems and the shaping IT landscape within purchasing and supply management. Within the part of the course, I will guide you through what parts of the strategic sourcing process or the operational procurement processes are currently heavily impacted by technology. When we look into the past, it was especially the ordering, invoicing, and payment phase that was digitally supported, or the automation of the system performed the task of ordering, invoicing, and payment. So the operative procurement part was heavily digitalized. Today, we see a lot of technologies popping up in the area of strategic sourcing, where we see more advanced systems in the planning phase, for example. We see advanced systems for auctioning mechanisms in order to find a bidder or a suitable supplier for our products. Or we see technology used in the contracting phase, where we could even move into smart contracts. Thus, we can first conclude that the strategic sourcing part has not been that much digitized yet, but in today's technology or rapid technology development, we especially focus on the strategic sourcing part, where we have a higher leverage of using technology to benefit the purchasing and supply management field. We also can see this with different kinds of studies. Here I refer to the BME barometer from 2018, which is years ago. But here we can see that the implementation of standard processes is moving quite active, where strategic planning phases are not that accurately digitized or supported by technology. And this is today, luckily, changing. So how can we observe the market for technology? And this is quite difficult. So technology is that fast developing that it's difficult to have the whole market in scope the whole time. We see new startups popping up with new technologies, but we also see established vendor providers coming up with new solutions for our field. So when I take one example, I could go to the digital procurement world in Amsterdam, and I can draw a picture like this. This picture is from 2020, but they renew this picture over the year. And within different application fields, for example, e-sourcing, we see different technology providers. For example, within sourcing, we see a huge amount of technology providers today. Especially on data analytics, we see a lot of them. So some of these technology providers are niche technology providers, where they specifically only focus on one aspect of procurement, or within our field, one aspect or the task within the process, and others try to develop a whole suite around it. And that is also what we see in our studies, that some of the solution provider are heavily focused on just one aspect in the procurement field, where others try to have a whole solution provided. Nevertheless, the maturity of these kind of solutions is still developing. Today, we see some solutions advancing with artificial intelligence, and others are just based on normal calculation rhythms. So it will be very interesting to see how, for example, generative AI would shape the amount of solution and the depth of solutions in the future. But all these kind of solutions have something in common, and they are based on some technology in the background. When we look into these kind of technologies, which is shaping our procurement field, we of course see today a heavily influence of artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence are performing, or can maybe perform in the future, a huge amount of tasks, ranging from buyer support, chat communication, maybe even negotiating. So artificial intelligence has a significant impact on the field. But we should not neglect that there are other technologies that still are useful within our field. For example, just big data analytics or advanced analytics is something we see in the field heavily, since the amount of data is increasing. So we can use more and more data points within purchasing and supply management, focusing, for example, on past internal data of contracts. But we also see more data in the sense of externally available data, which can be most of the time unstructured or structured and used for procurement purposes. Some of our technology can also go back into robotic process automation, which is quite nice as a technology for improving processes which are quite standardized and repetitive. so they occur multiple times and can be just easily performed according to a task description. So robotic process optimization is something we can implement within the field, also from moving from a non-digitized field to digital and then later to a more machine-to-machine communication style. RPA can help us with preparing this. One last technology on the slide would be blockchain technology. For blockchain technology, we see that there are some implementation of this technology, but this field is not that much rapidly developing as expected. Nevertheless, blockchain technology can be a nice way of communicating between buyers and suppliers, or making sure that the data that we have is transparent and accurate.